All right. Welcome, everybody, to your daily dose of monetizing magic. I'm Chris Seraphin, and I'm an archetypal brand strategist channeled of divine feminine energy, and I am a mermaid-inspired business mentor. And I'm so excited today about bringing this special guest. You need to know this woman if you don't already. She's my client and a business partner and inspires me in all the ways. So welcome, Demi Fox. She is the priestess and headmistress of the Morgan Le Fay Mystery School and upcoming Avalon Priestess training. So we're going to jump in and learn what it takes to become a priestess entrepreneur in the spiritual niche here online. So Demi's been an entrepreneur since about 2010 and 2011. And she began as a dance teacher and a performer. And as I remember, a mermaid. She had a beautiful tail that she would wear and go to parties and bars and regale clients with her siren song, as they would say.
Dirty siren songs.
Yeah. And she has so many talents. She's definitely one of those multi-hyphenate and a powerhouse entrepreneur. Now she's the founder of Rockstar Priestess, and she runs her own mystery school, workshops, circles, retreats. And she is definitely one of the best ritualists I've ever experienced. Her ceremonies are sublime and always feel really otherworldly, very magical and glamorous. And there goes my computer making noises. So a few things also, Demi and I partnered up for a magical business retreat in Glastonbury in 2018. And again, we were partners on an online business mentoring and mastermind in 2022. She has been in my world since 2013, which was about a year after I officially became an entrepreneur, after I left my corporate job. And so, we've kind of watched each other and, held each other since the beginning, kind of, pretty much. And Demi is one of my clients also that I've watched crush her goals as a priestess in the online world. And I've watched her at least double her income, at least. And I wanted her to come on today to talk to you about how she did it. And of course, I'll have a few questions, but I will put it over to you, Demi, to tell everybody about, a little bit about your story and how you got started as a priestess.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for that lovely introduction. So nice to be here talking all things money witches. Okay, so my story. When I left university with an art degree, I tried getting a real job, but I hated it. I hated it. And when I was at university, I had discovered belly dancing hardcore. I'd already been belly dancing for a decade, but I got really into it. So my dream was to be a dancer and a performer. So I only had a real full-time job for 9 months, and then I dropped out. My body actually, I got really bad RSI in my hands. My whole body was like, nope, we're not having this. I hate everything about this. This is the worst thing in the entire world. We're out. And I couldn't even brush my teeth or use a fork for a month. It was so bad. And I quit. I got a part-time job. I'm really glad I had a part-time job, just a nice, gentle one to make everything feel safer while I really expanded my belly dancing, my performing, my belly dance teaching. I made pretty much most of my money as a belly dance teacher for a decade, which is mental. And then I expanded into being a professional mermaid, like Chris said. I did that for about 5 to 6 years, and that was my main work for a long time. But in the background, I was always witchy and I was always a priestess. And if you'd asked Demi 15 years ago, she thought that my job would literally be a priestess talking to strangers on the internet about priestess stuff. And right now, we're founding a red yurt goddess temple kind of place in my town and things. I would not have believed you because I was absolutely terrified of sharing any of that stuff with the world. It was the most personal part of what I am. And the idea of sharing that seemed so scary, so scary. And more, I think more potently, the idea of ever feeling good enough to do that was just, I couldn't imagine that. But I remember I started training as a priestess in a class in Glastonbury, and I felt like I'd found my people, and I felt like I'd found the part of the world where I understood people and they got me. And I met Chris around that time, I think. And over time, I just really wanted to play more with the priestess stuff and the alchemical transformation and the mermaid stuff. When me and Chris met, we were both big mermaid women. And you were doing like mermaid archetypal branding, and I was doing Be More Mermaid e-courses and tarot cards, where I painted people as like tarot card as a mermaid. It was very cute.
Brilliant. Those were beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah,
you've got at
aside
least
from,
one of them.
yeah, and again, so talented, multi-talented, and I'm sure that must not have been super easy to figure out, as a life path, like which direction and which skills to really employ, right?
Yeah, that bit was actually really hard. So for me, you can kind of divide my career, my entrepreneurial career, into my 20s and my 30s. In my 20s, I was performer and I was trying to do all the things. I was trying to be a belly dancer and a belly dance teacher and a mermaid performer and a misc performer and an event producer and an artist and a witch on the internet all at the same time. And when I did that, I just kept ending up in burnout all the time. And I never had time off. I was just working all the time. Sometimes I think it's quite common for entrepreneurs. There's this myth of, oh, do what you love and never work a day in your life. And then the meme is, do what you love and never kind of ever not work and think about it all the time and never have any time off. I kind of did that, and it wasn't good, and it was not good for my health or anything. And I remember I've been blogging about witchy stuff since I was about 22, maybe, so about 13 years now. And it was just through doing a witchy blog. In the old days, it was called Fairy Daughter, in the very old days. And I just wrote about witches and fairies and books I liked. And it wasn't very good to begin with, because nothing is when you start out. It was rubbish. But I just kept at it because I really liked writing. And out of that came Rockstar Priestess. And it was slow. It wasn't right, I want to be a priestess online, and this is what I want to do with my life, and I'm going to do that. It was me playing for a very long time, writing about all the witchy things I liked and writing nonsense a lot of the time, to be honest. And through that play, I began to find my voice, my writing voice. I began to get practiced in doing what I do now, which is sharing my journey and vulnerable stuff from my journey with other people in a way that's actually interesting to read rather than boring. And I kind of found my way of expressing myself through this writing. And just slowly over years and years, because lots of people, there's this whole thing, oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'll get to 6 figures in 2 months. It doesn't actually work that way. It's like growing a garden. Everything is a lot slower than you think it is or you think it should be, but there's a reason, because you have to, like with my witchy path, I had to find my voice. I had to go through the stuff that meant I'd be ready to share stuff with the world. I had to go through the dark nights of the soul and the trainings and the learnings and the self-study to really have something to offer people. And I also had to grow into my voice. So I would actually have something to offer people, and I could play with a whole bunch of things until I found my one thing. So Rockstar Priestess wasn't ever a, right, I want to be a priestess on the internet. It was a, I want to talk about priestess stuff because I like it so much. And then from that, people started asking me, Demi, you talk about mermaids all the time. I want to do a mermaid course. So I created a mermaid e-course, which was super cute. And then I couldn't be stopped. And then I just kept creating more and more classes because I like to create stuff all the time. And if I'm not creating, then I am sad. So I created other little courses. I did some in-person stuff. I did our retreat together. And then I got to a phase. How old was I? I was about 28, 29. I just met my now partner. And at that time, I had just stepped into running Morgan Le Fay Mystery School, which is my Morgan Le Fay Celtic Priestess training college, really. And when I did that, I mean, I hired Chris when I had the idea because I did not think I was capable of, like, it was such a big expansion for me. And it's really terrifying to go through a big expansion on your own. And often when you try, you just put it off over and over again and you don't actually do it. So I got Chris, and without Chris, Mystery School wouldn't have happened. I would have just wussed out and not done it. But I had just started Mystery School and I was running my Morgan Le Fay Mystery School. I met my partner, who I'm still with today, and I was looking at my life, my relationship with him, and I was thinking, this could actually go somewhere. We could have a life together. Oh my God, this could be it. And then I looked at my life and I looked at my finances and I looked at how I was trying to be a professional mermaid and a belly dance teacher and a performer and run an online school and run burlesque events and be a burlesque performer, because I was that as well. And I was like,
I made your own costumes.
And I made costumes as well. And I was looking at all this obscene amount of stuff I do, and I was like, I can't do all these things. If I keep like fracturing my focus into 7 different places, I'm never actually going to be able to center in and make an actual income that I can live on, that I can enjoy my life with my partner. That's just not going to happen. I'm going to stay in 20s entrepreneur Demi, doing all the cool stuff like performing in Morocco, going on training adventures to Italy and Switzerland and America, and having amazing adventures, but like no savings and no like reliable grown-up income, because it all went right out again on belly dancing. Belly dancing and witchery. And I looked at everything and I thought, we're going to have to pick one thing and focus on it, because if I focus on one thing, I can do this. I can make it happen. And I picked Rockstar Priestess, which is my priestess business, which is my mystery school and all my witchery online. So I decided, right, I'm going to stop mermaiding. I'd done it for 6 years by then. It's not as glamorous as you think. A lot of it is swimming pools and 8-year-olds, so that's okay. And I stopped teaching belly dancing because it was just too much to do all at the same time. I stopped performing as a performer, which again, I was kind of okay with, because performing is one of those things where sometimes you get to do the thing that sometimes you get to perform something that makes your heart expand and it's amazing. But a lot of the time you're just waiting in a back room in a shopping center for your hour to go and talk to people or have people ignore you. So it's another one of those things where it's not quite as glamorous as it seems. So I went all in on Rockstar Priestess. I created Morgan Le Fay Mystery School with Chris's help. I had my biggest launch I'd ever had in my entire life. It was actually completely beyond anything I ever thought that I would be able to do. And now I've been running that for 5 years. We're on our 5th cycle of Morgan Le Fay Mystery School. And every year, like, Rockstar Priestess has expanded in some big ways and some small ways. Some years it's been a big expansive year, like financially. Other years it's been less, because there's been a lot of like soul stuff or mental health stuff that I've been integrating and healing, because it's not so much that I think one of the pieces I've learned is that it's not a linear money chase. It's a journey. So it's like a river, it goes around. And one year it will be all about your finances, and the next year it will be all about how you balance things, and the next year it will be all about how much fun you can have. And it does both. Yeah, so that's where I am. Anything I missed, Chris?
So yeah, that's beautiful. You are, first of all, just this amazing talent, and your depth and how vulnerable you can get with your audience has always impressed me, because I think for me, that's one of the hardest parts of being an entrepreneur. So as far as being an entrepreneur in the spiritual niche that you're in, what has been the most challenging for you?
I think the most challenging thing for me, it's that outer world. It's turning it into a business, because it's the outer world that defines success just by money. And then when you combine that business and spirit, and you combine the business and the money stuff with spirituality, which already has absolutely blankets and blankets and blankets of stuff around. Oh, you can't make money and be rich. Oh, you're such a slag if you're making money and being rich. You're stealing money from people, and all these huge spiritual making money fears. Going up against that has been one of the hardest bits for me. And being able to settle into the self-worth of, yeah, I deserve to make money. I deserve to have expansion. I deserve to have a sofa I want. I deserve to be able to buy the herbs I want at the supermarket. And expanding into that self-worth piece, that's always been the hardest bit for me. And I know for me, I feel like I've done a lot of stuff, and I feel like, I know it's not true. I feel like I've been like an entrepreneur for about 12, 13 years now. And I feel like now I'm only just getting to that piece of where I feel like it's been a lot of the little seed growing in the ground and the little shoot coming up. And now we're just getting to the bit where the bud really begins to open. And I feel like it's the self-worth piece and the kind of inability to receive piece, that's been the most challenging piece. That's the piece I'm still really, really, really integrating now, and really learning that it's not so much about skills or technique or talent, because you could be fucking good at what you do and you can know exactly how to do the things so that it sells. But if you aren't in a place where you can receive, and if you're operating from a place of, I have to punish myself working to be able to be worthy of receiving anything from it, you're going to be stuck in that cycle. And it's only when you begin to really pull in, yeah, I am allowed to expand. I'm allowed to be held by what I do. I'm allowed to have money. I am worthy of that. Me doing my witchy work in the world makes a big difference, and I deserve to get paid for that. And it's not even a deserving thing. Like, everyone deserves to have money. Like, I can't look at a single person and go, no, you don't deserve a six-figure income. It's not a competition. And the piece of pleasure for me, I remember in my 20s, I didn't have a single day pretty much where I wasn't almost constantly thinking about work, and that destroyed me. It, like, oh my God, so much burnout. And the piece of, to be able to do your business well, you need to be really, really strict and disciplined about bringing pleasure, joy, relaxation, and fun into your life, because that's the only way you're actually going to have a full enough cup to do your job. Otherwise, you're just going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel and not giving your best to your clients who deserve it, because there's nothing more fun than doing your best for your clients. But you can't access that if you're just knackered and you're pushing yourself to work hard because work's more important. You've got to get this done. You've got to get this done. And everything gets done, but kind of crappily, and you feel terrible. None of that works. So those are the hard things, Chris. So everybody deal with that quicker than I dealt with it, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. And, it's like you said, it's not a linear journey. It's definitely a winding journey, right? It's, because you get to a certain level, like where you're at, you've been running Morgan Le Fay Mystery School for 5 years. And yeah, you've experienced the success, you've experienced, okay, the out of balance part of success, and then how to rebalance with success and how to integrate all of that and get to this, other level. But there's always another level. That's the thing with being an entrepreneur or being in business. And some people may hit a certain place and be like, this is where I'm happy playing, and I could stay here for the rest of my life, right? And some people are not happy with that. Some people, they want the more, they want to expand, right? And I feel like people like you and I think we fall in this category of, we reach a level, it's like, okay, what am I going to, crazy thing am I going to do next, right? Because it's not even the challenge. It's like you said before, it's so much a part of your self-expression to bring the work. And it's more than work, it's the life purpose, it's the destiny, and how it's touching lives and helping the planet and being of service, all of that. It's a big thing. So like what I see with you and so many other entrepreneurial leaders, whatever their niche is in their space, their industry is, what's the next level of my expression of service in the world, of love that I have for myself, that I am, it's not only about being a teacher, right? It's about being in that role where other people are seeing you, right? That's so much a part of your brand, is like this, being a leader and an advocate for other women who really desire what you desired and want to learn from you so they can get onto this path. And, you've obviously made it a lot easier for them than it probably was for you, right? That's kind of how it works as a leader. So I'm really just loving what you've created with the Morgan Le Fay Mystery School. And I do want to talk about what's up next for you, but I wanted to ask you about the clients that you have, the students, the women that come through your programs. Tell us about the kind of results they get. Like, what is their life like after they meet the Demi and get all of this juicy training and mindset and all of the things that you give them?
All right. First off, for some reason, I am the luckiest person in the world, and I only get literally the best, coolest people in my programs. Like, they're always lovely and wonderful, and it's just an absolute pleasure to work with all of them. For me, when they come into my programs, like when they come into, it depends which one they do, darling, but when they come into my programs, when they do the work and they leave at the end, it's always that they have come closer into their destiny and life purpose. And that's kind of a bit of a wafty thing, but it tends to look like someone joins Morgan Le Fay Mystery School, and by the end of the year, they have had the courage to do the thing that they didn't know that they wanted to do and they've been hiding from for the last 40 years. And also the perfect place they wanted to live in has shown up. Or someone joins, I have a class called Venus Working, which is all about working magic to fall in love with life and attract everything that's good. People will join that and suddenly they'll be waking up happy every day for the first time in years, or they'll be attracting their soulmate within the next couple of months, which has happened a bunch of times, or they'll magnetize new jobs, or people will keep giving them presents all the time. That happens a lot. Or they'll be invited on holidays, or in a lot of the time people work with me and it's more that they come and work in a long time with me in my mystery school or one-to-one, it's that they really are challenged to step into what it is they're supposed to be doing. And that's because of the energy I work with. I work with Morgan Le Fay, and she's a challenger. And she is a goddess and an archetype that won't let you fuck around, and she won't let you pretend to be what you're not. She won't have it. So if your dream is to be a witchy entrepreneur who runs lazy witch classes and just kind of sits around all day reading books and watching telly the rest of the year, she's going to make you do that, and it will happen in your life. If you have a dream to open up a tea shop, she's going to make that happen. She's going to find the place, she's going to get you there, she's going to get you the house so you can make it happen. That's going to happen for you. And both those things have happened to people in my classes, and it's mad and it's wild, but it's this piece of the spiritual work and the alchemical work that we do as priestesses, and this mystery school work, which is a deep personal journey and immersion into what you do. That's what happens when you show up and put it all in. It's like a big reset into what you want to do, and it opens the path for you to do that. And it's really cool. And one of the things that happens to everybody in all of my classes, no matter which one they take, is there's always a big release of shame. And there's always this big release of, like, people have mentioned to me again and again, when they do my classes, they never feel like they're not enough. They never feel like they're fucking up. They never feel like they need to try harder or be something else other than they are. All my classes really help them to understand that they're okay exactly as they are. And I think that's probably because my job, or the way I express myself on the internet as a writer and in stuff, is from that really vulnerable edge, like you spoke about. I tell everyone everything. I am shameless on the internet, and I don't hide like my vulnerabilities or my fears or when I fucked up or my mental health journey. I don't hide it. So it kind of gives everybody permission to not try to be the Instagram perfect priestess or something other than exactly what they are. Because I really, really believe that as a priestess, which is somebody who is a divine feminine spiritual leader, which is somebody who serves the goddess and is the hands of the goddess in the world, you have to be very human and very imperfect, because no one wants help from some sanctimonious, I'm so perfect and better than you priestess. No one's going to relate to that. She's not going to help everyone. She's just going to make everyone feel bad about themselves. And the whole point of priestessing and goddess stuff and spirituality is that it's not about being perfect. It's that right now, I am holy in my utter imperfection, and I am holy in my inability to find where I put my water bill. I still have to pay that. And in my inability to find my keys this morning, I'm exactly perfect, just as that. I don't need to be better. The world is sacred and holy exactly as it is. And all its crappiness and weirdness and disappointment and fucked upness, that's kind of the piece we're holding as priestesses, I believe, and that's what we're here to see, the sacredness of life. And life isn't perfect. Life's a hot mess. So you're allowed to be a hot mess priestess, and hopefully I give everyone permission to be that.
Boy, you do. I will reflect back to that because I am a graduate of the first year of the Morgan Le Fay Mystery School. I almost forgot.
Yeah,
I was in the first run.
he was.
So, yeah, and that was a huge takeaway for me, was the piece around my taboo persona, the person that wants to be famous. You know, I have a famous father, you know, who is a rock star in a band, still is a rock star in his 70s. God bless him. He's still going. He's kicking ass. But it just was, I was always felt like the daughter in the shadows. You know what I mean? I was like, I can't overstep my bounds and also be famous. And I remember a specific one-on-one we had around that whole piece of, well, you could be more famous than your father. And I was like, oh, imagine you know, it was shame holding me back. And not to say that I don't have those issues still, but I really felt like you helped me like see that issue from another perspective, right? Because, you know, the wounds are, you know, people talk about heal the wound, and it's like, does it ever really go away? Come on, right? Give
Yeah.
me a break. So it's all about seeing it from another perspective and playing in it. And I love that you really help me in that way. So I just want to let people know that that you are the real deal when it comes to what you say, being shameless on the internet and helping other women feel that way too. So I bow to you. Oh,
Oh, thanks,
master,
Chris.
oh, mistress of the shadow work. You're really great at it. And you really, I know, have helped so many women, including me. So tell us what juiciness is coming up in your business, because I know you're brewing.
I'm a ruin. Okay, so what's coming up next for me in my business? It's a big year. Um, I'm running a Priestess of Avalon training, which is the second year of my Morgan Le Fay Mystery School, but you don't have to take it consecutively or anything. And this is my big beastie, big, intense, like super nerd out, everything you could ever want to know as a practicing priestess. So in Priestess of Avalon year, which is my big project this year, and I'm so excited, I will be teaching you myself along with all my beautiful guest teachers, because in my heart, Avalon is not a one guru land. It is a place that brings in the collective expertise and knowledge of a circle of queens. So I'm bringing in a circle of queens, and you will learn how to be a priestess, how to lead ceremonies, how to be a ceremonialist who marries people, how to run amazing community circles and singing circles and red tents, how to do that online or in real life, how to be a death priestess, how to hold that underworld edge that Avalon has, how to priestess funerals, how to hold people in grief, how to deal with trauma and be trauma trained, and so that when people come to you with stuff, you know how to deal with it rather than fucking up and making it worse, how to be properly inclusive, how to talk and communicate with people so that you know how to soothe disagreements between people in your circles, all those kind of big skills you really, really, really need as a priestess if you are going to step up and do this work. That's what I'm going to be holding, and that's what I'm going to be teaching. And it's going to be a 13-month deep dive Priestess of Avalon training experience where you learn the skills, the dream fantasy skills, where you imagine wearing a beautiful gown and doing a ceremony and being fabulous. You learn those skills, and then you learn the real life skills. Okay, this is how I talk to someone who's having a panic attack in my class. This is how I deal with contracts when I'm working with doing a joint venture with somebody. This is how I deal with it if the spiritual community gossip turns on me, because we know that's what our world is like sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you are held and supported to take all those skills and craft them into a priestess practice, as in a living priestess service practice that you're going to do. And I'm going to kick your ass so you actually fucking do it. And you fulfill this dream you have of being a priestess and getting out there and serving goddess and helping people, whether that's overtly as I am a priestess of Avalon, come to my midsummer ceremony, or whether it's kind of quite stealthy, because not every place in the world is ready for an open and overt priestess, witchy person. It might be, come to my women's circle where you will connect with your peace and wellness, and not say that, oh, we're going to smell this lavender oil. I'm not going to tell you that it's cleansing and that it's shifting your thing, but it is. Wink, 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 wink. Really adapting this priestess work so it works with who you are and what you are and where you are in the world, so you can do it and you can stop pretending this isn't your biggest dream. That's what I'm going to do, Chris.
And you are the person to do it. I mean, you've been so, so like, out in the public, I don't know what the right word is, but just very visible. And, you are like the priestess for priestesses in my mind, You're the person I would come to learn anything priestessy. And you are the person who has been doing an online business, a legitimate business, doing this for at least probably close to 8 years, maybe 10, right? And Demi is the goddess of priestesses. So I'm so grateful that you do put your work out in the world. It's so important. And there are, I mean, obviously a lot of other women too, making money, doing priestess trainings, making money as priestesses. And I love that it's for you, it's a real collaboration. And like you said, it's a collective. It's like, let's keep feeding this powerful collective with all of these women who are trained well, who are trained and in all of these life and magical arts. So I really appreciate what you've been doing and what you're continuing to do, and like opening in this bigger way, this bigger blossom of you. So I guess let's end with, what's the most important piece of advice that you want to leave any other woman who wants to start a spiritual business as a priestess online? What is like one important piece of advice out of the millions?
Okay, there's a couple of things you really need to know. Number one, you do not know what your effect is on the world. You have no way of understanding the ripple effect of what you're doing and how it's reaching people. I have people messaging me and telling me that they've been reading my blog for the last 10 years and that it has consistently helped them shift and change. I didn't have a clue for those 10 years because it's the internet. You don't know what your effect is. You just have to trust that it's there. And that trust piece is so important. Trusting that what you're doing matters and it is doing something big for somebody is so important. Trusting that you're going to get to your goals. You don't need to do it now. I don't need to fulfill my super big superstar priestess dreams now. I know it's going to happen within the next 10 years, so I can, or 20 years, so I can stop pushing. Yeah. For allowing yourself to be in that trust of, I'm going to get there, so I don't need to like force it now. That trust piece is so, so important. And what you said about that collective and group of queens, the other people doing this work out there, they're not your competition. They're your colleagues. Yeah. We're all doing this as a team. And that's how you do this as a divine feminine leader. We're not in competition with each other. It's just an expansion. And the more of us who are there doing this priestess work and sharing it with the world just means that it could get to more people who desperately need and want this, because people need this and people want this. And the more people with more different perspectives and ways of sharing stuff that there are, the more people in the world are going to be helped. There's no competition. We're all on the same team. We can all do this. There is space for everybody. And there is somebody out there who needs what you do, even if you do exactly what I do, who needs what you do in the very specific way you do it way more than they need me or they need Chris. Yeah. So just trust that. You'll be fine.
I love it. Great advice. And yeah, the journey is more important than the destination, although we love the destinations that we reach along the way, but it is the journey for sure. That's the mythic part of it, right? So amazing.
It's not a myth if it just ends right away.
Exactly. Yeah, we're creating legends and, you know, these amazing stories and legacies, really, right? That's a legacy. All right. Well, we're going to end this amazing, amazing time. And I feel like I'm at a new place and I always feel renewed in your energy and learning something new from you. So thank you. And I'm sure everyone who sees this interview is going to feel totally blessed and like turned on, like, okay, I'm going to monetize my magic. I'm getting out there. I'm putting my stuff out there as a priestess, as a shaman, whatever it is they call themselves. I feel like in this particular area that we work in. There's so many different angles and so many different ways. And Demi is here to help lead this collective, and also to be the teacher and coach that could be the one that's perfect for you in this moment to help you get to that next level of your priestess passionate work in the world. So tell everybody, Demi, the best way to connect with you.
So you can all find me at priestesstraining.com, or if you just Google Rockstar Priestess, you'll find me. I'm also on Instagram as Rockstar Priestess, and I have a buttload of like free guidebooks and grimoires and courses. So just go to my website and find whichever one looks yummiest for you. Free stuff, woohoo!
Lots of good stuff. All right. Well, that's all for today, and we will see you in our magical world soon. Thanks so much, Demi.
Thank you, Chris. This was so fun.
Yay.